After 60, and especially if you are retired, some of the best things you can buy aren't physical things at all. They're things that offer you the opportunity for experiences, freedom, time and spontaneity. The ability to wake up on a Tuesday morning and do whatever you want. That's what retirement's about. But here's the problem. A lot of people approach their retirement years carrying far too much of their old life with them. They've spent decades accumulating things. I know I did. And those things are a total time suck. They come with responsibilities, administration, maintenance and costs. Then you retire, but the stuff stays. And so do the things associated with them, sucking your precious time. In this video, I want to talk about 5 things you should seriously consider selling before you retire. Not because you need more money, although don't get me wrong, it does come in handy, but because selling them gives you back your time and more freedom. Number 1, the oversized house. This is a big one. The family home made perfect sense 20 or 30 years ago. You had your children, you were doing school runs, you needed the bedrooms for the sleepovers, you needed the garden to kick a football in. Life was non-stop. The house fitted the life. But then something happens. Your children leave home for university and the bedrooms become empty. Apart from those occasional visits which become more occasional the older they get and become fully fledged adults. Listen, the house stays the same, but life, it changes. And yet you continue maintaining that property. It was designed for a life that you no longer live, and you spend your precious time and money cleaning, gardening, decorating, repairing, maintaining, heating, when you could be doing something else. So the question isn't, how big is your house? The question is, how much of your retirement time and money is this house consuming? Because sometimes the house you own ends up owning you. That was my experience as my wife and I hung on to that family home we'd owned for over 20 years. We turned 60, we knew something had to change. So we decided to downsize from the countryside to a house just under half the size here in the city centre in York. It was a smaller house with smaller commitments, smaller costs. But it also had an extra benefit of convenience. There was no more jumping in the car to go to the shops or the pub for a meal. We can now just walk out. We can go to this train station in 15 minutes. We don't have to drive there and park our car in the overnight car park to see our son in London. Oh, and it's absolute bliss. Number 2. A second property. Now this could be a holiday home or a rental property, a cottage maybe here in the UK or abroad, an apartment or a condo if you're watching from America, somewhere that you've bought maybe years ago and on paper it sounds really idyllic. A place to finally escape to relax, to enjoy. But the reality, in my experience, is very different. I had a holiday apartment in Portugal, and here's what I found. You don't just own another property, you own another roof, a complete home, another boiler, another set of bills, another set of repairs, another set of responsibilities. And you discover something surprising. You spend more time talking to the management agents than you actually do enjoying the property. Not just that, you end up tying up money in that property, and that money could be funding travel elsewhere in the world, and that limits your experiences and adventures and memories. Those are the things that enrich life rather than complicate it when you're retired. Now, I owned that apartment for nearly 6 years, and I don't think we visited it more than 6 weeks in a year. What a waste. And renting it out brought more administration, bureaucracy and hassle. So do yourself a favour. If you own one of these, sell it. And if you're thinking of buying one, don't. Number 3. Cars. When you were working and ferrying your kids around from school and to their mates, 2 cars are essential. It's 2 commutes, it's 2 jobs, 2 different schedules. But once you retire, that changes. Suddenly, you find yourself going to the same places at the same time, together. And one of the cars starts spending most of its life sitting on the drive or gathering dust in the garage, maybe driven just a few 100 miles a year, doing nothing except costing money, insurance, servicing, tyres, tax, and let's not forget that silent cost, depreciation. And it's all for something that rarely gets used. Now, full disclosure, we have got 2 cars. I do about 10,000 miles a year on various road trips. My wife has an old banger. She does 2,000 or 3,000 miles a year visiting her family and friends who don't live in the city like we do. Here in the UK, the urban bus routes are poorly served and a car's essential if you've got relatives in these villages in the countryside like my wife does. So I'm not saying every retired couple only needs one car, but many do. And the money freed up from selling that second car can often buy far more enjoyment than the car itself. Number 4, expensive toys. This one I know is going to upset some people. I'm talking about boats, motorhomes, classic cars, caravans, motorbikes, the sort of things you dream about owning and many of you do own. And look, there's nothing wrong with any of them if you use them or they're a genuine hobby that gives you enjoyment. That's the important part. If you use them, because many people discover something after retirement. They love the idea of owning them, that's me, more than they love the reality of owning them. That was definitely me. I had the third car, sat in the carriage, never used. And I wasn't a person who enjoyed tinkering with cars, so it wasn't a hobby, just a daft idea that it would be great to have an open-top sports car in the summer. Here in the UK, it's more likely to be raining. So all I ended up with were headaches and admin and maintenance, storage, insurance, repairs, cleaning, cost. It was a dream that became a burden. Now, if you love it and you do use it, keep it. Of course you should. But if it's been sitting in storage like mine, or it's parked on the drive for most of the year, you've got to ask yourself this simple question. Am I still enjoying this, or am I just paying to keep a fantasy alive? Number 5, your work clothes. Now this one sounds small, but it's not. The suits, the shirts, the ties, the shoes, the jackets, the office wardrobe, the clothes that belonged to your working life, to that old identity. After I retired, mine sat there for years and years in my wardrobe, just in case I went back to work and needed them again. But that day never came, and the clothes become something else. They are a reminder of a chapter that has already ended. Sell them, donate them, give them away. Let somebody else use them, especially if they're into kipper ties and suits with wide lapels. I hear that vintage look is all the rage with the youngsters these days. Retirement isn't just about letting go of a job, it's about accepting that your life has moved on. So let me make it clear. I'm not suggesting you sell everything. I'm not suggesting you live in an empty house or deprive yourself. What I'm suggesting is that retirement is a great opportunity to ask a simple question. Does this still fit the life I want to live? Because every possession comes with a cost. Money, time and attention and responsibility. And after 60, those things become more precious than they ever did. So if selling a few things can buy you more freedom, more experiences, more spontaneity and more life, that might be one of the best deals you ever make. So let me ask you, what are you going to sell? Let me know in the comments. And if this video resonated with you, watch this one next. It's about the things that are a complete waste of money after 60. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.